Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is 5 Minute DFS, and I'm David Michael Peterson, just a math major in college who's breaking down the main slate each and every week using statistical analysis and proven DFS tendencies to help you and me improve at the game that we love. Make sure you've got a large glass of water at your side, and let's get right on into this. All right, so for our mid-week data dissection, I love to take a look at the highest over-unders of the week and pair that with some pace of play information to inform the best decisions possible. So looking at the highest over-under on week 11, we have Green Bay versus Indianapolis, 51.5 point over-under. So players that are involved, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, of course. But here's the deal. Green Bay, 32nd in pace of play. Indianapolis, bottom third of the league in pace of play. There's going to be less plays, less scoring, less yards, less fantasy points. I'm going to stay away from this game. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. I don't like him. I'm a Lions fan. I'll admit it. Devontae Adams, he's a beast. But with his price point, he's going to have to pay off with like 1 to 2 touchdowns and 100 yards to pay off, which it can happen. I'm not saying it won't, but it's a little too rich for my blood in cash games specifically. Love him in GPPs. Aaron Jones, he's been getting some volume taken away from Jamal Williams. So that lowers his value, especially against a tough Indianapolis defense. So I'm getting rid of these players. And then on the Indianapolis side of the ball, it's a wash all across the board. 3 players in the backfield that could potentially be going off. Don't like any of them. 2 to 3 tight ends that could go off. Maybe Michael Pittman Jr. could be a play. He has been getting some volume recently, but overall, I'm just going to stay away from this game. So moving on to the next over-under of the week, we have New Orleans coming up against Atlanta in division rivalry. We got Jameis Winston coming in for Drew Brees, 50.5 point over-under. I don't mind Jameis Winston going in for potential cash, depending on what Sean Payton says later in the week. But for now, I'm getting away from him. Matt Ryan, you could definitely play him. He tends to get 300 yards and multiple touchdowns against New Orleans, which is good for DraftKings, but I'm staying away. I think there's better plays on the slate. Alvin Kamara, $9,200, one of the highest players in the entire week. Smash play. Keep him in your lineup, shove him in your lineup, find a way to get him in your lineup. He's averaging 27 points on DraftKings each and every week. New Orleans is 29th in pace of play, but with Winston turnover prone, it can definitely make for higher scoring in this game. So that is something to look out for. And then other players that I'm interested in, not Todd Gurley, 2 touchdown dependent for cash. Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, great cash plays, both consistent floors. Granted, Michael Thomas hasn't been doing that lately since coming off the injury, but where we know he can do, $7,300 is way too cheap for him. So I'm keeping him in my lineups. Depending on if Calvin Ridley is healthy or not, I'll consider him. Hayden Hurst gets a healthy workload each and every week. 8 targets. I like him as tight end. Love him. Manuel Sanders, too thin for my blood and cash. So those are the main players that I'm looking to shove in from this game or this week. Next highest over-under, we got not Indianapolis, Tennessee against Baltimore. 49.5 point over-under, playoff rematch. Sorry. And we got Lamar Jackson rounding out the quarterbacks with the highest salary on the slate at 7,300. I think he is cash game viable with his rushing upside, rushing floor. Granted, he has not been Lamar Jackson of 2019, but it's still Lamar Jackson. I think he is definitely doable. He's due for one of these breakout games against a pretty good team in Tennessee. Derrick Henry, he's proven that he can run against Baltimore. 195 yards last year in the playoffs. At 8K, coming below the 2 higher running backs of the week, and Dalvin Cook and Kamara, he can be a great leverage play this week. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, I am considering this week in cash. Gus Edwards, I will definitely consider in some GPP games. I think he has one of the better chances to pop off for like a big 2 touchdown game out of anyone in this Baltimore backfield. AJ Brown disappointed people last week. People who look at just the game logs see 1 catch, 21 yards, 3 points. What the hell is that? Like people are going to stay away from him. But he dropped a touchdown pass, and that's just not what he's been doing. I think he is definitely tournament viable. I'm going to stay away from him in cash games this week, but he's definitely viable. Marquise Hollywood Brown, he's due for a big game. Play him in tournaments. Mark Andrews, he showed last week he had like a 4-type game without a touchdown. 9 targets, 7 catches. So he's definitely viable. I'm going to stay away, though, because I like Anthony Fersker on Tennessee. He is stone cold minimum at tight end, 2,500, and he's only ran 6 less routes than Jonnu Smith since week 5 or 6, I believe. So at 2,500, he's just a value play. He cannot hurt you in cash. He can only help you. Moving on to the next game of the week, we have I got New England versus Houston. Two dual threat quarterbacks dueling it off. I love Deshaun Watson this week. All right, where's the over under? Here it is. All right, 48.5 point over under. We got Deshaun Watson coming in at 6,500 and Cam Newton at 6,200. I love both of these as quarterback options. I'm personally going to have Deshaun Watson in my cash game lineup as at quarterback. I don't mind Damian Harris this week, but I'd prefer him in GPPs. Duke Johnson, I'm staying away from. Will Fuller's been great all year, but I'd prefer the $1,000 discount to Brandon Cooks, who's been getting 8, 9, 9, 9, 12 targets in the last 5 weeks. Opportunity is key for fantasy. More targets, more catches, more touchdowns, more yards, more fantasy points. I love Brandon Cooks and Deshaun Watson this week, and Jacoby Myers coming in at $4,900 on the other side of the ball. He has gotten a 40% target share from Cam Newton since coming onto the scene. I just love him as another cash game play this week at $4,900. Last game that I will focus on for the week is Dallas at Minnesota, or I don't know who's home or away, but Dallas versus Minnesota, 47.5 point over under. Fantasy Carnival is coming into town for Dalvin Cook and company. Love Dalvin Cook this week. Each and every week he's been a smash play. $9,000, yes, it's high, but Dallas sucks at defense. It's just the plain truth. So basically, adjusted line yards, Minnesota is second in the league and for their O-line, and Dallas is 31st in the league for their D-line. You already know Dalvin Cook's going to smash, and with that statistic, it's only going to be better. Ezekiel Elliott's very underpriced at 6,500. I don't mind him in tournament plays, especially with the Minnesota run D. That's not the best, but he just hasn't been Ezekiel Elliott as of late. Adam Thielen, not enough targets per game for me. He only gets 4, 2, 3, 3 catches each and every week. I don't like him anymore. Justin Jefferson, 4 100-yard games in the whole year. I think he's very tournament viable. Great player. I'm going to stay away in cash, though, maybe in a little bit. But and then CeeDee Lamb, he is the only real pass catcher that I'm like interested in from Dallas. Screw Amari Cooper. Andy Dalton, when he was in for Dak Prescott, he consistently looked CeeDee Lamb's way. He was the only wide receiver on Dallas to consistently get targets. So I don't mind him as a cash play this week, maybe. And then Irv Smith Jr., he's been a great punt option at tight end all year. He have these 2 touchdown games and pop off for the price that you pay. And honestly, he's not going to kill your lineup. You can only help it. So yeah, that's the 5 biggest over-under games this week and who I want to play from them based on the pace of play and other possible statistics. Thanks for tuning in today. This is 5 Minute DFS, and I'm David Michael Peterson. Thank you very much.